I will stop you for a short moment while I locate one that is not buggered. Okay, so here we are. It's quite a bit later in the evening now because I've been looking for a disc that will actually format. I must have gone through a stack of about 10 there of various things. Finally I've managed to find one that will work. Yes, alright, I kind of copied over Wing Commander in order to do it. However, I can just download that again, providing I can find some discs to put it on. It wasn't an original copy with disc labels or anything, so I don't mind. It's a good game, but as I say, I'll obtain it again at some point via this method that I'm about to show you. And by the way, I've also found a slightly better way of copying things from one disc to another. All you would have to do, say you want to copy that file back to another disc, rather than having to drag it to the RAM disk, swap the disks yourself, drag it off the RAM disk back onto the other disk, is to take out that disk, but the window stays up because Workbench is clever. Put in your other disk, PC disk, but who cares, and you would just drag it across, and what it does is it will automatically copy it to the RAM disk, then ask you to insert the disk that you're copying it to, and it'll copy it across. So that's just a bit of a smoother way of doing things from one disk to another, and I had forgotten how to do that, and now I know. So there you go. Right, so on that disk now, on that Amiga disk, this one, we have our zip file. Now we want to put on the file that we can use to unzip it. So let's take that out. Let's put in that DOS disk, which has the file on it. Wait for that to appear. There you go. Always have strange names. Show all files, and there is your unzip program. Copy that onto the disk as well. And it's going to do its clever thing of sending it to the RAM disk, and then there you go. It even works from PC formatted to Amiga formatted disks. Good old Workbench. This is one seriously clever operating system, a multitasking operating system. I know you've probably heard this in other videos, but a multitasking operating system invented in 1985. Windows or Microsoft didn't do it for another 10 years. Apple didn't do it till 2001, so pretty amazing stuff there. The Amiga really was cutting edge in its day. So there we are, we got both files we want on disk, and we're going to unzip them, for which we will need the Amiga shell. So we're going to put our Workbench disk back in. There you go. And we want to go into the system folder, and you want to load up the shell, which is the command line, the CLI or command line interface of the Amiga. Okay, so we want to put our disk back in. What you need to do to change to that drive is you just type in DFO colon's important, otherwise it doesn't know it's a drive. Press return, it accesses the disk drive. And now what we're going to do, if I can do this one-handed, I'm going to sit down while I do it, oh dear, is to unzip it. And you literally type in unzip, the file name, .zip, I'll get this right eventually, space dash D, the modifier, space RAM, which is the RAM drive. So we've just told it we want to unzip that file to a specific directory, not to the one it's in, and that directory is the RAM drive. That would be the Badger always comes up with this error about not being able to use UTC times. I'm not quite sure how that's relevant. but it doesn't matter because it is, as you can see, inflating that. How clever is that? An unzipping program on the Amiga, and it's 93K. I would think either WinZip or WinRAR are rather bigger than 93K, but this does the same job, and it usually takes, I would say, a minute, even less, to do the inflating. But we will see. If I'm feeling adventurous and I might do a bit of video editing, I might chop down some of these waiting times so that you don't have to wait whilst watching the lovely video. I'd sing you a song or something, but I don't think you'll like that, to be honest with you. How about looking at my beard instead? Look how long it is, look how silky. Ooh, ooh, slight bit of a gap where I picked it out there. Oh, yes. Oh, come on. I'm quite tired at the moment. Normally I'd be wittering on complete nonsense about all sorts of other things I was trying to do, but I may be a little bit more subdued today because I've been staying up a little bit late at night trying to get these things to work. For some reason it makes me happy once I've got it to work. Sometimes during the process it's a tiny bit frustrating, but when you get these things to work, when you finally realise that you can have any game you feel like on the Amiga and play it on the original hardware, come on, that is 84 times cooler than, I don't know what's called because I'm a geek. Right, get on with it. Hey, okay, so we have unzipped our ADF file, our Amiga disk file, to the RAM drive. Okay, so if we close that disk, go into the RAM drive, tell it to show all files. There's the Badger. Now, when you're using the command line, it doesn't tend to like file names that have spaces in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename that. Rename, and I'm just going to call it another w1 disk1.adf. Doesn't matter what you call it, it still writes the same disk when you use the ADF2 disk program. And that's what we're going to do now. So we put the disk back in that had those files on it. Talk amongst yourselves. There's the Badger. Show all files. Now we probably could have put this on the RAM drive earlier, to be honest, because it is only 3K ADF2 disk. But there it is, if you can see, and we'll drag that onto the RAM disk as well. So we have everything we need to make our Amiga disk. Oh, let's hope it works. I've never done another world. Let's hope it does up the Badger here. So, okay, so back to the shell. What have we called it? Another w1.adf. Okay, so what we need to do now is, I think the disk is, oh no, the correct disk is not in there, and there it is, not Wing Commander Disk 2, it's going to be another world, hopefully. We will change to the RAM drive now, RAM, go, back on the RAM disk, and it's the same as unzipping really. You type the name of the program, ADF2 disk, space, another w1.adf. Moment of truth, people, let's see what it does. Writing file to disk, and this is where the magic happens. I was pretty gobsmacked when this actually worked. I really didn't expect it to for some reason. I don't really know why, but I mean, how can such coolness, how can such a level of coolness, being able to play essentially any Amiga game you feel like, if you can get any discs to work on your original hardware and everything, how can that be real? It's not real. It's just like fantasy. It's like a dream. Maybe I will wake up in a minute. This is a bit surreal, to be honest. Yeah, here we go. And this, if anything, takes even less time than the unzipping process. Even less time, he says. I'm getting bored, says the viewer. I need a piss, for God's sake, finish. There we go. Alright people, the only thing left to do now, and I will hold the camera in my teeth for this because I will be needing two hands, is to reset the Amiga and hope the bastard boots. Let's see what happens.
Control Amiga, Amiga.
It's loading, the light's on. It's trying at least, it's trying. Come on. Oh, copy protection, but this is proving, people, that it has worked.